Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of the 7 day 7 projects series, and today we're going to be designing a blog. So to get started, I have an empty folder called blog post design, and I have 3 images which I got from pexels.com, the BMW image, another image, and this alphabet, and I just have an empty index.html and an empty style.css. So if you need these images, you can just go to pexels.com. You can use any image you want. Any image. I don't want you to feel limited to use these images. You can use any image you want. Okay. So to get started, I'm going to just generate a boilerplate using Emmet like that, and I'm going to link my style sheet called style.css like that. For the title, I'm just going to say blog posts design like that. And then for the body, let me just close the sidebar. For the body, I'm going to say I want a div. Actually, I want to start with the header. So let me just say header with a class of header like that, and a nav inside with a class of navbar like that. And then I'm going to say I want a UL inside with list items that are 3, each having anchor tags like that. And I'm just going to say I want this should be home, this should be about. They don't go anywhere, so this is just for aesthetics so that it can look a bit nice. And then for the third one, I'm just going to say guides like that. Okay, then below the header, I'm going to create my div with a class of container. This will be the main container for the blog post, and inside that div, I'm going to create another div with a class of blogs like that. And then inside this div with the class of blogs, now I'm going to create 3 divs. Copy that down 3 times like that. And then I'm just going to say I want how do I want to do this? Actually, I can even use this guide that is right here. The image on top, let me just create the image on top. The image, this will be coming from image 1 like that. The alt will be just image 1. Just going to say that. And then once I do that, okay, this is confusing me a bit. Let me just remove it. And let's see, I want the image at the top, then the title, and then the story, and then I want some social media links at the bottom, which means I would need to get font awesome. Okay, cdnjs.com like that. Let me just grab font awesome. This is for the social media links that I'm going to place at the bottom of each design. Just going to grab that and link it right there. And then I can say, let me give this, let me just remove this, and let me say I want a div with a class of blogs or blog dash cards like that, or that, let me just say cards to make it easier. And then inside this div, I'm going to place my image, which will come from image 1 like that. And then outside this div, I'm going to create another div which will be the h2. Just going to say lorem 3 for now, and then a paragraph saying lorem 50. That should be good enough. And then at the bottom, I'm now going to place what should I place right here? I'm going to place an h4 with the name. Let me just say name for now. And then below this, this is getting a bit confusing. I'm going to say, let me create a div with a class of socials like that. And then I'm going to create a ul li with an a, and then inside the a I want i.fab.fa-facebook. This will be the container for our list items. So I'm just going to copy this 3 more times, place that there, and this will be Twitter, and this will be Instagram like that. Okay, so once we do that, then we're just going to copy this div. Is it this? No, this div. Where does this div end? Right there. We're just going to copy this, and then we're going to paste it 2 more times like that. Let me just save that and open it with font awesome, not font awesome, but live server like that, just to see how it looks. And we have that. Okay, it's looking nice. We're going to change this in a moment. Going to change that in a moment. So let's just begin styling it in our style.css, and I'm going to grab everything and reset it. Margin 0, padding 0, oops, and box sizing to border box. And then I'm going to say for the images I want a max width of 100%. I want the width to be 80 pixels and the height to be 80 pixels as well, and then the border radius to be 50%, that they are rounded like that, and they reduce to this. Okay, and let me change these images. This is image 3 and this is image 2, like that, and there we go. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is, let me just style my header. So I'm going to go inside the header class like that, and I'm going to say for the navbar, it has a class of navbar. I'm going to display flex, align item center, justify content center, and then for, oops, what did I do? Is that correct? I'm going to go inside the header, navbar, and the ULs, and I'm going to say display flex, which will bring them, align them in raw form. Let me remove the bullets. I'm going to say list style tab to be none. For the anchor tags, I want the color to be dark gray, and I want the text decoration to be none, like that. Then I can go inside this, and I target the list items to place a margin on them, like that. They move apart, and then I can go inside the header to add some padding so that this moves away from the top. I'm going to see padding of 20 pixels all around, and then I'm going to say what can I say? This should work for now. So let's just work with that. And then let's begin to style this. It's inside the class of container, and it's called blogs. Okay, so let me just test something. I'm going to go inside my container and inside my blogs class, and I'm just going to display flex. Okay, it works, but I don't want display flex here. I want to display grid, and I want grid template columns to be one fractional each, like that. And then I'm just going to say text align center. This will bring them to the center. Okay, I don't want this. I do not want that. Let it just stay like this. Then I'm going to add padding all around. Actually 0 on the top and bottom, and 50 pixels on the left and right, like that. And then let me see if I can go inside the blogs, the container, the blogs, like that. And I want the paragraph like that, so that I can text align justify, like that. And that looks nice. Let me add some margin on the top and bottom of 20 pixels and 0 on the left and right, so that they move apart from one another, like that. These images look a bit too big, so let me reduce this to 40 pixels. That looks better. And then I want to separate these divs. From here to here is one div. Okay, so I'm going to separate them, and they are called cards. So I'm going to go inside, actually this should be inside the cards class as well, just to stay in line with the conventions. So I'm going to say a margin. Let me separate them by a margin of 30 pixels on the top and bottom, and 0 on the left and right, like that. Let me add, actually on the body, let me place a background color on the body. I'm going to place a background color of F1, which is a very light gray, as you can see, so that I can place a white color on these, on the divs, on the cards divs. So I can say background color of white, and this appears now they are a bit accented. So I'm going to say, let me add a padding of 20 pixels so that these move inside and they move away from the margin of the divs, like that. And then I'm going to say, let me add a border radius on the divs of 5 pixels. And then let me add a box shadow so that they are a bit more accented. Let me see how that would look. Border radius of 0, 10 pixels, and RGBA 000 0.5. I don't like that. I do not like that. Should I? Let me say 1.5. Let me reduce this to 5 pixels. let me reduce this to 0.05, that it's very light but still very visible, and it looks, you know, as good as it will get for now. And then let me just change this font. This font is bothering me, so I'm going to say font family of Georgia. Let me go with Georgia. Like, really? Didn't this change? Let me say Arial then. Okay, like that. On the paragraph, as you can see, they are very close. The line height is so little that they are very close to one another, so I'm just going to add a line height on the paragraph. And I'm going to say line height of 1.6, like that. Too big, 1.4. Okay, manageable. And then I'm going to say, what is the next thing that I want to do? Okay, let me add a hover effect when you hover over these divs. Okay, so I'm just going to grab them like that, and I'm going to say for the hover state, then I want the box shadow. Copy this, paste it there. I want the box shadow to be 0.2. Let's see how that looks. Let me also add a transform. Translate. I want it when I hover over it, I want it to move upwards just a bit, so I'm going to translate on the y-axis by -5%. That will make it move upwards, and if I do it now, you'll see that it will jump, as you can see, but I don't want it to do that, so I'm just going to add a transition of 0.4, and I'm going to say transition all, so it will transition everything, as you can see. Looks nice. It looks nice. Okay, we are getting there. Let me change this to 0.5. Let me change this to 10 pixels now. Let's change it back to 0.2. What am I missing? This is a bit too much. Let me say 0.2. Yes, it's just a bit subtle. 0.2 seconds, like that. Yeah, I think this is much better. So the next thing I want to do is now deal with this div that has the name and as well as the social media icons, which is this div with the class of socials inside that class of cards. So I'm going to grab this. So I'm going to grab this div with the class of cards like that, and I'm going to go below this, and I want to target the div with the class of socials. And let me just check something. Oops. Let me place this inside here. Let me see how that looks. It doesn't change anything, okay? So that I can display this as flex. Really, display flex. Place them side by side like that. I'm going to say align item center and justify content to space between, so that they go end to end, like so. Looking very nice already. Then I'm going to go inside this class and I'm going to target the ULs, which are the social media icons right there, and I'm going to say display flex as well. Place them like that, and then I'm going to go inside this. So I'm going to go inside this UL and I'm going to target the list items, and I'm going to place a margin of them of 0 on the top and bottom and 10 pixels on the left and right, which will separate them like that. Let me just add the font size. Let me say font size to 20 pixels. Okay, that looks nice. And then the next thing I'm going to do is wait a minute, why did this work and this no? Okay, I'm an idiot. I need to move this down as well and move this down as well and apply the styles, and there you go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is what do I need to do here? Actually, this looks pretty nice already, but let me just add some margin between this header and the images. Let me check where that is. It's in the it's an h2 inside the cards class. So I can grab this and I can go above and just target the h2 and say margin on the top of 10 pixels, 0 0 on the left and right, and 0 on the bottom, like that. And let me just reduce the font size to 24 pixels. 20 then 20 pixels. 20 pixels looks much better. And then I think that will be it for this type of screen. Yeah, that will be it for this type of screen. But let me just add the names. Let me think of names to add. Just going to say Jane Doe. Where's this other name? Okay, I'm going to say John Doe. And then for the top, I'm going to say Jane Doe once again. And there we go. So it actually looks like, it pretty much looks like as those kinds of tweets that you see extracted on websites, but yeah, it looks fine. It looks fine. Okay, so let's begin to scale it up for bigger screens, and we can target first of all a tablet screen, which is about 768 pixels. And just so that I can have this uniform, I'm going to add another blog post at the bottom so that they can be 4. But for now, I think this is just fine. Let me remember where I displayed grid on this class, which is right here on the blogs. So I'm going to say for a media minimum width of 768 pixels, I'm going to go inside the container and inside the blogs, and then change this to 1FR like that, and that happens. So in order to separate them, you just need to add a grid gap, and I'm going to add a gap of 20 pixels, which will separate them like that, as you can see. Now I don't want this. If you can remember, I placed a margin on the blogs, so if I come here and remove the margin, you'll notice, oops, where did I place that margin? Where did I place the margin? It was inside the cards class. Okay, so I need to remove this from here, and I need to go inside the cards class, the container, the blogs, the cards class, and I want to say margin 0, which will bring this up. It will remove the extra margin. Let me just add this grid gap to 40 pixels so that they can separate better like that. And then what else can we do? On the body, let me add a padding on the top as well as on the bottom so that this doesn't sit right at the edge. I can do that easily by saying, actually let me just do it on the blogs, and I'm going to say padding of 50 pixels on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right, or 56 pixels all around. That's much better. This is much better, as you can see. Oops, I don't want that much margin on the top, so let me say 20 pixels on the top, 0 on the left and right, or rather 50 pixels on the left and right, and 50 on the bottom, and that looks much better. And then let's scale it up one more time so that these 3 can go into one column. So I'm just going to say for a media, a minimum width of 992 pixels. Then I want the container, and I want the blogs class, like that, and I want this to grid template columns repeat 3 1 fractional. Let's see how that looks, and it looks nice. Okay, now you'll notice that I used repeat here, but I used 1FR here. I was just trying to show you that you can use this, or you can use the repeat function, which is right there. Okay, so what else? Let me add 3 more blog posts so that they can, it looks a bit populated. So you can do that easily by just copying and pasting. Just copy the cards class, which ends right there. Copy this, go to the bottom of this cards class, 1 2 3. When I save that, you can see that they populate, and it looks nice. It looks very, very nice. Okay, so that will be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this day 2, and I'll see you back tomorrow with the day 3 of the challenges. Thank you for watching.